Hey, you guys. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. To be completely honest, I was texting with my husband because he is over in Turkey right now, waiting to get on his next flight. He is literally, I don't know if you guys saw my post yesterday, but he is literally flying around the world in the next 5 days. He's going over to Southeast Asia to play music for the troops over there, which is incredible and terrifying at the same time. So I was just texting with him because he's about to board his next plane. So that's why I'm a couple minutes late, but I want to dive in and get started. I know I have talked with so many of you, and I love this so much, being a multi-passionate and having so many ideas, so many passions, not knowing where to start, really, sitting in either the fear of like, how on earth do I even get started? What if I do all of these things and I'm successful at none of them? Or, what if, sorry, what if I try to do all of these things and I end up burning myself out and end up doing nothing, right? There's so many fears, especially when there's so many people out there, so many coaches, so many mentors, so whatever you want to call them, trainers, who are telling you to just choose one thing and stick with it. And believe me, that's what I've heard so many times in the past for myself. And I decided to go a different route. I decided that, I wanted to do multiple things because as a multi-passionate, that's what fulfilled me, was doing all of these different things instead of just having to choose one thing. That's why a day job just really felt like I was trapped when I was in a job, because you're brought on to do this one job, this one position, and you're kind of stuck in that box. And that was where, so much of my feeling stuck, feeling unfulfilled, just really getting as I, kept working and stuff like that, just feeling unhappy because I wasn't able to do the many things that really build me, right? I always picture it as kind of multi-passionates, we are a big puzzle. We have to have all of those pieces to fit together in order to feel fulfilled, in order to feel put together, right? So you have to honor that. You have to step into your multi-passionate power. Tell yourself that that's accept it. Tell yourself that it's okay to be that way and that you can be successful that way. And sometimes it's easier said than done, right? But that is exactly what this group is all about. That is exactly what we are going to start to talk about today. There's so many of you that have so many ideas and just don't know where to get started. Believe me, I totally get that. So I want to take you through an exercise today and give you a few tips to really allow you to take action right now, today. This isn't just a training where I'm going to just talk at you for an hour. I want to keep this fairly short, but something that you can truly walk away with, because I really want you to get started in something. It's so easy to have all of these ideas and feel so excited about them. Believe me, I've totally been here multiple times. When you're so excited about all of these different ideas that you have, or even just this new idea, and you write part of it down, and then of course, life happens, or you have your day job, or you have other things on your plate, that you never get to this idea. And then when you come back to it, you're I don't even know where to start, or you have this other idea, and then you never move forward with it, right? Totally been there, totally get it. So for those of you who have a ton of ideas, or you're finally stepping into your multi-passionate power and you are ready to get started, today's video is for you. I want you guys to take this as an exercise and really sit down with a notebook, with a piece of paper. This is my idea notebook and goal journal. I use this thing like crazy, but if you're like me, you probably have 1,000 notebooks because we have a problem. That's okay. Whatever helps you. I will say, if you are just to really fit into your learning style, because this is so important to how you take these things in. If you are a kinesthetic person, if you like to, feel things and do it and have something tangible, I encourage you to get out a big piece of paper. Maybe you have like a legal sheet or like something even bigger, or at least just like a blank sheet of paper that gives you space that you can like tangibly have something to write your ideas down on and get it out on paper, right? If you are a visual person like me, there's two different things I recommend for you. Either definitely get out a piece of paper, but first, especially if you're allowing yourself this time to do this, I would encourage you to, if you meditate or visualize, even if you haven't tried those practices before, which is totally okay. I know how difficult they can be to get started in. But if you do either of those things, great. Like I would try that first, try to visualize this before you put it on paper, because I know that that often helps us. For me, I really visualize or even like meditate in an active setting, which means basically I love to go for like a walk outside and clear my head. And sometimes I'll listen to a guided meditation, and sometimes I'll just kind of walk myself through goals or things that I want to do. So if that helps you, if like walking helps too, but you're a visual person, get into some state, whether it's walking or just sitting down, eyes closed, eyes open, whatever works for you. And just start thinking about like, what would it look like for all of these different ideas? Doesn't have to be like all in the same day or anything like that. Like what would each idea look like for you? And then get it on paper, because I want you guys to all get it on paper. If you are audio, what works really well is if you guys have like the Voxer app or some sort of voice recorder app, you can like speak to yourself, like record yourself, and then go back and listen to yourself talking about each of those ideas, and then again, put it on paper. So I hope that that helps. Obviously that is just getting you started. That is not where I'm leaving you guys, but that is what I want you guys to start with. When I get overwhelmed with anything, whether it's too many things on my plate, my like overwhelming to-do list sometimes, maybe it's just too many ideas in my head, like you might have right now, whatever it is, the best thing and my go-to thing is to get it all out on paper first. So I literally want you to brain dump like all of your ideas, anything that comes to mind, just so it's out of your head and on paper. Because when you know, like when you remind yourself to do something over and over again, you're like, oh, like I can't forget to do the dishes later, or I don't know, like whatever it is, right? Like I can't forget to do that. And you're continuously thinking about it. Like how many of you guys have ever done that where you're like, oh yeah, I need to do that. And then you try to like continually remind yourself throughout the day. And then by the time you get home, you're like, what was that thing I was supposed to do? Like, I don't remember. That is what's called an energy leak. Not to mention a time leak, but definitely that will drain your energy super, super fast. So same idea when it comes to all of your ideas that you have. If they are stuck in your head, if you are trying to, remind yourself and keep these in the back of your head for when you do have time to like sit down and work on them, this is going to drain your energy. What you're going to do is you're going to like go through your day, whatever, was on your plate for the day, whatever's on your schedule. And you're going to continually be thinking about that, whether that's for a full day, whether that's for, it could be, over weeks on end. Sometimes we just we feel our schedules too full, especially as a multi-passionate, you guys. I know that this is totally you. If you are packing way too many things on your plate, if you're spreading yourself too thin, you're also trying to remind yourself of these really cool ideas that you have. But by the time that you actually do have a little bit of time to sit down and work on them, like you get home at night, maybe you have like 30 minutes before you go to bed or whatever that looks like, you're just exhausted. I have so been there so many times, and it's so frustrating, you guys, because you get done and you're like, I am so tired, like I just have to go to bed. Even though you want to be working on this thing, it gets pushed to the back burner again. And then you wake up and then you do the same thing again the next day. I have been there so many times, and I don't want you guys to do that. So here is what I want you to do. I want you to, like I had mentioned, like if you're kinesthetic, if you're visual, if you're audio, like do the things that support you and how you best work and learn. But at the end of that, get it down on a sheet of paper. I want you to literally brain dump every single thing that you can think of, whether it's an idea, whether it's like the idea off of an idea or like details of the idea. And it doesn't have to make sense, you guys. I know sometimes, especially if you're like a type A personality or you like organization, believe me, I like organization too. This will help you work through this, but I want you to just like give yourself that space to just get everything out on a sheet of paper. We will organize this later. It doesn't have to look neat. It doesn't have to look tidy. It does not have to be organized to begin with, because we will get it to that point. So get everything out, first of all. Second, I want you to go back through this list and just start looking over the things, because here's where you start to get clear on what you're going to move forward with, what you're not, what you might put on, actually put on the back burner for later. The point of this is to really go through, and it's so easy. There's so many things I want to say. It's so easy as a multi-passionate to want to dive into all of the things, all of it, all at once, right? That is how you burn yourself out, you guys. If you are trying to like do all of the things at the same time, like immediately, and dive into everything, or you feel like you have to do every single thing that you want to do every single day, you are going to burn out. That is not, it's not going to be healthy, but you're also just going to be really frustrated with yourself, because there's no way that you can get every single thing done every single day and still have time for things like, sleep, taking care of you, let alone like running errands, or like your normal like daily like priorities and things like that, going to work, running your business, marketing, getting new clients, like whatever you're working on. You're not going to have time for everything, right? I know it always feels like a good idea to be like, okay, I'm going to do like 2 hours of this, then I'm going to do this, and then it just doesn't happen, right? Because some things take longer than you expect them to, which they should, especially if you're first getting started. And honestly, so again, like another energy leak for you guys, when you are jumping around from task to task to task to idea to different idea to whatever it is. Hey, Emily, thanks for hopping on. When you are jumping around from task to task, and I am definitely guilty of this, this is something that you have to be very conscious about as you are going through your day, is not switching tasks, not switching. So like for me, I have 2 businesses, I have a couple side projects, I help my husband with stuff, right? Like if I did all of that every single day, I would easily burn myself out, because I would burn through my energy through the day very, very quickly. Because I know you've probably heard this before, but like that's the reason people tell you not to multitask, is because it truly does drain your energy. When you have to switch your brain from one idea of thinking to the next, to the next, to the next, it takes you a long time to like, just like regular productivity tips. Like when you switch tasks in general, it takes you, I've heard, and this has probably changed because it's something that continually changes, but it takes you half an hour to actually get like in the flow, in the zone of that new task. So when you're constantly jumping from task to task, this is very common for a corporate environment, you guys. This is what they tell you not to do, but then it's hard not to, right? Because that's kind of the way the corporate world works. It's like you have to do that, which is so terrible. But when you do that, you are truly like, you're draining your energy. Sorry, distractions. Speaking of, right, that's why distractions, like they stop that flow, and it takes you 30 minutes to get back into that rhythm until you are truly focused on that project. So when you're jumping from thing to thing, you never get in that state of focus where you can actually get good work done, because you're jumping from task to task. So here's the next step, you guys. Once you have this all on a sheet of paper, like all of your ideas, brain dump it on there, I want you to take a step back, because often this is where we want to dive in and start taking action, because, okay, everything's on the sheet. I know everything I need to do. And then you just start like trying to start diving in, right? And even though you may not know where to start, like this is the piece that most multi-passionates, or most people in general, will miss. And this is why we're not successful. And this is why it doesn't feel good. And this is why we also burn out, is because we don't take a step back from this. So when everything is out on that sheet of paper, I want you to take a step back. Now I want you to think about, how do you, this is so good, because this has totally changed the way that I work, the way that I live, the way that I think about anything that I do. And it seems so simple, you guys. So if you find yourself not wanting to dive into this part, this is what you're missing. I promise you, this is totally the piece that you are missing in order to truly move forward. and feel good about it, feel aligned with it, feel fulfilled, all of the things. Because I want you to take a step back and I want you to think about, how do you want to live your daily life? How do you want to live and work in each day? How do you want to spend your time? So if you go through, again, if you're like audio, you might talk this out. If you're visual, you might like visualize this in your head. If you're kinesthetic, maybe you get out a sheet of paper and like write it down in your journal or something like that, whatever helps you. But I want you to think about your typical day, like your ideal day. Like, what would that look like? Like how would you wake up in the morning? What time would you wake up in the morning? What would you do next? Do you have a morning routine that you would do? Would you enjoy your coffee? M&M cup. By the way, this is my favorite coffee ever. I'll get into that later. But that was something that was huge to me. It's like, I didn't want to just like grab coffee and like grab something quick to eat for breakfast and commute to work in the morning, you know, like I was doing. I wanted to be able to make a good breakfast for myself that was healthy and that fueled me for the day, and to actually enjoy my cup of coffee without having to run out the door. I wanted to, you know, be able to take the dogs for a walk in the morning and enjoy being outside and not stuck in a cubicle, and really get my mindset right? So like, how would you wake up? How would you go into your day? When would you start working? What would that work look like? What would you be doing for work, right? Like, that's probably some of your ideas that you have. Like, would you be, you know, if photography is on your list, would you go out and shoot in the morning because that's the best lighting time, right? Like, would you want to do that? And then you'd come home and like work on a blog post. Emily, I'm totally thinking of you. All of the things, sorry, I see that. Oh, no worries, Emily. You can always go back and watch the first part too, but you didn't miss much. I saw it when you came on. So I want you to really, really take some time with this, because this is the piece, like I said, that you are missing that will help set you up for your version of success. Because this is what I was missing, you guys, is when you think, you know, you have all these ideas or you have all of these things that you want to be doing, and you're trying to like fit everything into your day-to-day work, like that's when you get overwhelmed. That's when you spread yourself too thin, especially if you are a yes person like me. You want to say yes to people because you genuinely want to help people, right? It doesn't seem like a bad thing until you realize like how much you're spreading yourself too thin. So, excuse me. So I want you to really take yourself through that ideal day. I'll be honest, the first time I did this, I will never forget this, but the first time I did this, I was actually getting a massage, and I was able to like really sink into that deep relaxation feeling, to visualize, like take myself through a full day. Like, what would that day look like if I could, you know, spend it however I wanted it and be doing the work that I wanted to do? What would it look like? And I will never forget that, because it just changed the way that I thought about everything. Because, you know, even though you think you want to do all of these things, all of these ideas, there's a lot of those things that may not align with how you want to be living your life. And that's where that fulfillment piece comes in. So I don't have a great example off the top of my head, but, you know, like if you, just for example, like if you want to have, you know, be able to have your mornings to like get up and ease into your day and have a morning routine that like gets your mindset up. Like, you don't want to adopt some sort of idea or start some sort of idea that, you know, okay, here's a good example. So if you want to like have your mornings, or you want to be able to travel more, that was such a big thing for me too. If you want to travel and allow yourself that freedom and be able to work from like your laptop, if that's the type of lifestyle that you want, that's how you want to work, then you're not going to go open up at like a brick and mortar shop, right? That, you know, that you have to go to every single day or 5-6 days out of the week and open and close and be stuck at a location, right? That doesn't allow you to travel, unless of course you have employees, and maybe that does work, but that's not going to be for quite a few, you know, depending on the business, right? That's not going to be for a while. That's not going to be something that you can do right now. So that is, if you have like this idea for like opening up this shop, in this downtown city section or whatever it is, right? You want to open this like artisan shop to sell other people's artwork or whatever it is, right? Like I've had that idea too. So that's why it comes to mind. But that's not how I wanted to be living, you guys, is I wanted to have the freedom to just work from my laptop. I wanted to be able to travel and see the world with my husband, who's flying around the world as we speak. I wanted to be able to enjoy my time in the mornings with my dog, with my dogs, there's 2 of them, with the animals, with my husband, and work from home, right? So I wasn't going to, like, opening up a shop didn't make sense because it wasn't going to be aligned with what I wanted. This is so the part that you guys are missing. So I want you to step back. I want you to allow yourself that time to really think about, how do you want to be living? What is that lifestyle that you totally desire? How do you want to work? How do you want to spend your time and energy every day? Once you have that, I want you guys to, again, like, get out another sheet of paper, write that down, like, get it out so that you can look at it every day. It's so easy for that to, like, slip out of your mind and just get back into the busyness of our typical, like, daily lives. So get that out on paper, get out what it is that you truly want. And then I want you guys to start looking, like, side by side, like, what fits, what doesn't, what are the things, like, maybe you just wrote down that you have to, like, do the laundry because you haven't done it in a week or something, like something little. What are those things that you can, like, just check off right away? Like, if you can take, even just a couple hours just to get a few things done and off the list so you stop thinking about those, great. Then you've eliminated some of those. Like, those aren't even your ideas. Those are just, like, strictly to-dos, right? And then I need like 10 more notebooks. No, you don't. We have a problem. No, I'm totally the same way. I have like 1,000 notebooks, and then I'm like, okay, I know I wrote that down. Where did I write it down? So as long as you have a purpose for each one, it's totally fine, because I totally have that problem too. As I'm like looking around at like all of these notebooks I have. But write it down, you guys. Like, start comparing like what fits into how you want to be living, because the point is that that version of, I call it like your version of success, because it's very particular to you. It's very specific to what you personally want. It doesn't have to do with the person next to you, other people that you've talked to. It doesn't matter. This is your version of success. It's how you want to live your life and work and spend your time and energy and all of those things. That is what we want to get you to, you guys. That is exactly what I work with my clients with, is, getting into how you want to be living and working, especially as a multi-passionate, and having all of these things. And then not necessarily working backwards, but just like, taking that, holding that, and then starting to create that plan to move forward toward that so that you can have that. That is exactly what I have done, you guys. This is what I've been working on for probably close to 2 years. Definitely the first time I did that visualization was last April, because we were in Seattle for my husband's birthday when I did that visualization. So like, I know that to a T, like when that was. But it's a process, it's not going to happen overnight, let's be real. But if you don't have that in mind, and you're not working toward that end goal, or you don't have that end goal in mind when you're working on things, you're just going to keep filling up your plate. You're just going to have all of these ideas, and you're going to try, and you're going to, even if it's working, it's not going to feel fulfilling. It's not going to feel successful to you, because it's not truly what you want. So you really have to have that alignment piece with that end goal of what you want. So that is where I want to get you guys started today, is having all of those ideas, getting them out on paper, and then starting to align them with that version of success, what you want, you guys. And then, for those things that don't fit, it's okay to like let those things go, or like I said, put them on the back burner. I don't know if you guys have ever used like a Kanban board, but I always like reference this because it's great. Basically, it's like a productivity tool. The Japanese created it, but this was something I learned in like the corporate world, and I continue to use because I like it. But basically, you have a couple different columns to keep you on track. So you have like your to-dos. So you could take that list and like I like the Post-it notes, so you could put them on Post-it notes because they're easy to move. And then you have all of your to-dos, and then you have what you're currently working on, and then you have what's completed. Down here, is like a separate little box. I'll go over this another day, but basically like you have a separate box that's an ice box. So this is like ideas that you may want to come back to, but that you're not currently working on right now. And that can be so helpful, you guys, because you don't necessarily have to let those big goals go and just like let them disappear, you know, like you can, if it's something that's still, you know, you're really connected with, but you know that you're, that it doesn't align right now with what you want, that's okay. Put it on the back burner. You can still have it in like that ice box for later, that you can always revisit and come back to. And, you know, maybe that idea turns into something else that is truly aligned, which has happened. So this is totally what I work with my clients with in so much more detail, and truly, truly personalized to you, because that is one of the biggest differences, that, you know, I've noticed myself, but especially with my clients too, is like, you know, being multi-passionate is not a one size fits all. What works for one person is not going to work for the other person, because all of our version of success, like that end goal that we want, is all going to be different to each person. And if you are trying to, you know, follow the 10-step process, in like all of the freebies that you see, or, you know, I always see this, but like, you know, make 10K in 10 days, or like whatever it is, you know, like those things. I want to tell you this now, because it's not to rag on those at all. It's really to save you the time and energy from trying those things. It's like, that is not going to work for you guys. And that's totally okay, because, you know, what you want is going to be very different than what that person who created it once, or the other people who are doing that once. And I want you guys to really feel fulfilled, feel successful, be successful, have the lifestyle that you want, being able to do all of the many things that you guys are passionate about, and manage it, you know, manage everything with your time and energy so that you don't burn out. And so you don't feel overwhelmed, but you're able to do all of the things and feel super fulfilled and successful, because it is your version of success. And that is what I'm all about. That's why I work with my clients one-on-one. It's very individualized and specific to them and what they need and where they want to go, because that is what's going to help them get there. It's not just this, you know, simple process of like 10-step process or whatever it is, you know, like that's not going to work. It has to be truly personalized for you and your goals. And that is totally what I am all about. So if that is you, and I haven't talked to you, Emily, I know you're here, let's chat, because I would love to take you through this process and dive into what is super important to you and where you want to get to, and start moving you forward to that version of success that you want, and being multi-passionate, being able to do all of the many things that you want to do and be successful at it, because it's the best feeling in the world, you guys. I can't even like, I can't say it any better than that. It's even just sitting here and like enjoying my coffee this morning and sharing this with you. Like, this is what I wanted, you know, over even just last year. And now being able to sit here and do it and have it, I don't have words for it. And that's where I want you guys to be. So please feel free to reach out, book your call with me, message me, whatever works, and let's talk about working together. Please keep me posted on how this exercise goes for you. I know we're just getting started into this process, but this is how you get started. This is taking you from that, like, I don't know where to start. I am just sitting here like, where do I even get started? I don't even know how. And actually moving you into action. So that is fully the first step. And I can't wait to hear how this goes for you. Oh, thank you, Emily. Hi, Kelly. I didn't know you just hopped on. So I'm just about to end the video, but please feel free. This will be up as a replay. So please feel free to go back and re-watch this. This is a really, really good exercise for getting you started with all of your many ideas and really moving you into that action. So thank you guys so much for hopping on. I hope you guys have a great, what is today? Is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.